Now, crime intelligence head Dumisani Khumalo and several of his co-accused have been granted bail of 10,000 rand. They appeared in the Pretoria Magistrate's Court on charges relating to corruption. Khumalo was arrested yesterday at the OR Tambo International Airport while preparing to travel abroad. He's implicated in an ongoing investigation into the alleged abuse of intelligence slush funds and possible irregular appointments within the SAPS.
The court will accede to your release on bail, as I have already alluded to that aspect. And that being the case, for accused number 1, Samuel Dumisani Khumalo; for accused number 2, I beg your pardon, for accused number 3, Newzroom Precious Madondo; accused number 4, I beg your pardon if I pronounce your name otherwise, I mean my offense. Maperimisa Josias Lekalakala; for accused number 5, Sydney Zwelithini Gabela; for accused number 6, Pindi Yesidia Nide; and for accused number 7, Dinero Mukwili. Bail is, you are therefore granted bail, or your application for bail succeeds.
For the latest on this story, we are joined in studio by our reporter, Ziniko Mhlaba. Ziniko, a long day in court. The judge had some very strong words for the accused as well. Just catch us up to speed with what happened in the court today.
Well, it was a long day indeed, not just for the accused, but for us as members of the media, because we spend a lot of time in the morning dealing with the issue whether the media would be able to cover, the court proceedings or not, with all the defendants, the lawyers for the accused denying, opposing that application. But towards the end, the judge eventually did actually allow the members of the media to really film and follow the story and report it live. But when it comes to the actual case itself, what came out firstly was the unhappiness the judge had towards both sides, the prosecution team, the prosecuting team, and the defense team when it comes to their arguments and how they applied themselves and how they conducted themselves when it comes to the bail application processes. From the state side, you remember in an application, one has to say, do you oppose bail or not? And the state very early in the morning said, no, we don't have a problem with them. You can allow them, you can release them on bail. And obviously, when the judge had to probe with those factors in terms of why are you saying you don't oppose bail? Because right now, tell us about the type of witnesses that you are dealing with as a state. Then that's when it came out that indeed there are some members of the crime intelligence unit themselves that are currently in the employers of the SAPS who are likely going to be, witnesses of the state. And then there are ordinary members of the public who are also, going to be witnesses for the state. So the judge said, what safety measures have you put in place for both these people? Because for those that are in the employ of the state, you can guarantee their safety. But they're ordinary citizens. How are you going to ensure that they're not going to be at risk once we release these accused? Then the state struggled a bit. So that was one of the things the judge had problems with. But when it comes to the arguments, when it comes to the defense, what he really condemned was the nature and how they had put together their affidavit, which we also used as evidence. One of the things he picked up, and we also picked it up as journalists, that the affidavits were almost similar in nature in terms of content. There were pages, about 3 pages that were identical. The only difference was the name of the accused, and also in terms of the addresses, because we're not dealing with application for bail, the state has to be satisfied in terms of the whereabouts and the home addresses of these individuals. There are some accused who had different addresses, and the state could not pick that up. The defense lawyers could not pick it up. It was the judge who said later on, but hey, if we're dealing with accused number 1, he has 2 addresses, which one is which? And then NPA or the state, how do you approve this? How do you say you don't have a problem with these guys being granted bail if you can't even tell me which one is his exact home address? Where are you going to find these individuals? So those are some of the things that the judge really had issues with. But eventually he granted them bail, except one individual, who's accused number 2, Mr. Lushaba, who is the CFO of the crime intelligence, who's currently having pending cases that are related to corruption within the crime intelligence. So let's take a listen to the judge explaining why accused number 2 was not granted bail.
As for accused number 2, in his affidavit, he disclosed that he has a pending case of corruption. And this current case also being corruption under Schedule 5. It therefore relates to Schedule 6. So it was a misdirection to say that this is a Schedule 5 offense when it is actually a Schedule 6 offense. And the dictates of Section 60 in relation to being a Schedule 6 offense, exceptional circumstances being proven, has not been placed before the court. Therefore, it will be a misdirection by this court as well.
So that's the judge there, just giving us more insights in terms of why accused number 2 was denied bail. And then the other issue, Masa, that was very topical was the amount of bail. All the accused suggested or pleaded that they can only afford 1,000 rand. And
that actually quite upset the judge as well.
Yeah, very much so, because the judge, from that point, because he had to poke holes now in these arguments, he zoomed in spent a lot of time zooming into the amount. And he started asking questions in terms of accused number 1 to 5, what is your salary range? And then it came out that on average, actually, one of them was earning over 70,000. And on average, all of them were earning above 50,000. That was the first thing he zoomed into, the salary range. But also the type and the value of their properties. On average, most of them owned houses that were worth more than 3 million rand, except accused number 7. And then from that, he said, then explain to me why I should let you go with the 1,000 bail application. Because to some of most of you, 1,000 is a pocket money that you can go and spend on a day and don't have any issues with. And that was the problem. But eventually he said, I'm not going to consider what you guys are telling me in terms of the amount that you're saying you're willing to pay. You're all going to be paying 10,000. I will not discriminate on that. And then he did, towards the end, made mention of the fact that, well, according to the facts before me, you are not supposed to be getting bail, because both of you did not impress me, did not convince me, did not put any valid points before me that would consider that actually these individuals must be released. The only reason I'm giving you bail, especially the 6 accused, is because the state said they do not have an issue with you granting bail. But I must make it very clear that I am not impressed with the standard of the argument, with the paperwork that you've given to me, but also the arguments that you gave me. If it was up to me, I'll deny you bail.
So in terms of the amount for the bail, which was gone into quite a bit, the judge fleshed that out quite a bit. You've also detailed why he gave it, that reason as well, 10,000 rand as opposed to 1,000. Was the state okay with the bail ask being at 1,000 rand only?
The state did not oppose any elements of the bail or any reasons or arguments which were put before the judge by the defense. And that is why the judge was also frustrated in terms of how the prosecution team conducting itself, because he felt that they did not do enough research or didn't put enough effort in terms of poking hole in the arguments which were made by the defense. And the judge actually did mention the fact that, well, when it comes to the amount, because he felt as if both sides did not understand what informs an amount of bail. He explained it in detail, saying that it's not about the money that you have in your pocket, but it's about your income and what you can afford. And that's when he said, that is why I asked you about your properties. That's why I asked you about your salaries, because that informs the court in terms of whether you can afford or not. He further stated that I'm not going to focus on how much money you have right now, because that does not matter. What matters is that you guys are employed. I've not heard that any of you has been suspended, so you're still getting an income. So I'm going to pay, I'm gonna charge you, I'm gonna determine that amount that I feel you guys can pay according to the facts before me, which you confirmed in court when I asked you about your incomes, about your properties, but also about any other thing that I think is worth and valued for me to be able, or that is going to help me get to the amount that I think you guys need to pay in order for you to be released on bail.
Yeah, and I mean, Ziniko, as the magistrate is pointing out the loopholes from both sides as well, when we're looking at this case moving forward, doesn't really inspire much confidence if there's already administrative and technical loopholes, like you mentioning, the magistrate mentioned as well, that it also seemed like a copy and paste type of job. What does that then mean for the case moving forward, and when can we expect them next?
So from the state perspective, they stated very early on, even before we got to court, that we are ready, we are done with our investigations, and that is why we are saying that release these guys on bail, because we've got enough material and evidence to work with. And towards the end, actually at the end of that conference, I did ask the spokesperson in terms of, when you said you are ready and you've concluded your investigations during the court proceedings, what actually did you mean? Did you mean that you are done with the investigations for this bail application, or you are done completely so that to an extent that you can use the material and evidence that you have and the facts that you have, even for the trial? He confirmed that, no, what we meant is exactly what you mean, that you are ready for the trial. So the state is saying it is ready for the trial. So that's their view, but it has not been tested yet. But on the side of the defense lawyers, they mentioned the fact that even when we are dealing with the issue whether media should be allowed to broadcast the proceedings or not, they said, hey, we are not ready. We just met these guys. We only heard about this arrest yesterday, so that is why we can't even say we allow the media to broadcast this, because we have not consulted enough. So they are not ready from that perspective. But also the judge, when he was probing the bail application and facts, he said that, well, you guys using the same facts to argue for your bail, but when it comes to the circumstances, all of you have different circumstances, from accused 1 to accused 7. So the defense lawyers now have to go back to their clients so that they really get all the facts in place, because some of them, actually all of them, are saying that they will plead not guilty. They are denying all the allegations leveled against them, while on the other side, we've got a state that is saying we are ready, we think we've got these people, these are the right people. I also asked them whether there are any more people that are likely going to be brought forward to join these accused. They said, no, so far we're happy with this 7. These are the people who are zooming into, these are the people who've got facts on, and these are the people who are ready to prosecute.
Ziniko, thank you so much for that update and that detailed report. That, of course, is our very own Ziniko Mhlaba, who was in court today.